Hey everybody, it's Brent Brookhouse. What you're about to hear is the second of two episodes that Ethan Page and I recorded last night. There were some audio problems with the first episode, and I've been trying to fix those to salvage it, but I'm about to head to the hospital for my fiance to have a baby, so I don't have any more time to work on the audio problems there. I'll keep working on them when I have a little bit of time in the next coming days. Meanwhile, I wanted to put out this episode to make sure something goes out for all of you. We're talking a little bit of wrestling, and then we talk about the Avengers for almost an hour. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I will keep working on getting that other episode fixed and to you as soon as possible. So enjoy. We will be back recording a new episode on Wednesday as well. So hope to hear from you guys soon, and hope you guys enjoy a lot of Avengers talk. What's up, everybody? This is Brent Brookhouse. I'm here talking to All Ego Ethan Page. This is our...
Yeah, there you
go. This is part two of our little makeup spectacular here. We just finished recording the episode you would have heard yesterday. Now we're back today to take the rest of our fan questions and talk Avengers. So, not much changed in the last minute, but how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Laying in the same bed as I was when we recorded the last episode.
Sounds good.
Still in the UK. This Friday I have a big show for Southside Wrestling in Stevenage. And then I have a big show on Sunday. It's a IPW, CZW thing. I think it's in London, so yeah.
Yeah, and in the last hour, we still have not been invited to StarCast.
No.
So if you're keeping track,
also still not booked for All In. Hint, hint, Cody.
Yeah, man, work the connections.
Hell yeah! All right, let's get to it. So let's do the questions. We'll make everybody wait for what everyone should want to listen to, which is the Avengers. So let's get to these fan questions.
Yeah. Plus, it'd be really hard for people to not get spoiled if they don't want to get spoiled if we talked about it up front. So,
true.
Let's see. Who's the weirdest person to talk to on the Indies?
Weirdest person to talk to on the Indies?
I think it might just work better as who's the weirdest person on the Indies.
Oh, well, probably Weird Body from AIW or Weird World from AIW. Those guys are extra weird, and I love them both so much, but they're characters.
All right. Who cut a better promo, Dusty or Flair?
Oh, dude, that's tough. I mean, oh man, that's really cutting deep. You know, Dusty had a way of, like, touching your heart with his promos because you could relate to him. And Flair had a way of making you think he was the coolest person on Earth or the biggest asshole.
Yeah, they're both...
That's a draw for me. First ever draw.
Yeah.
On the Bitter Boys Club. And you know what? The Bitter Boys can be the fans listening to this because I'm not giving them an answer. I'm not picking one over the other.
Fair enough. I'm just going to back your draw there because I want to reference individual promos to be like, this is probably why Dusty's better. And then I'm like, but then there's the Flair. So yeah, if you could have any of the wrestlers back in Alpha 1 who have signed with WWE, who would it be?
Oh, Heidi Lovelace for sure. Without a question.
Seems like a pretty good choice.
Yeah, obviously, like, it would be cool to have Gargano back, Kurt Hawkins, former champion, Brody Lee, Luke Harper was a big player for us. There's a bunch of people, but if the would say number one that helped us peak to a new height was Heidi Lovelace as our champion, and just the body of work she did for us in such a short amount of time. I would love to have her back.
Would you rather wrestle Matt Riddle or PJ Black?
Matt Riddle, because I've wrestled PJ Black twice, so I've never wrestled Riddle.
That's really weird. I guess that never even clicked for me that you'd never wrestled Riddle.
Yeah, I know it was talked about being a match that Gabe wanted to build to, but never happened.
Huh. Who would you pick to wrestle Space Monkey in a legendary comedy match?
I think Space Monkey versus someone who actually knows how to do comedy would be great, because he doesn't. So, like, maybe Kikutaro, but Kikutaro also recycles a lot of spots. Marion Fontaine, I think, is the most underrated comedian wrestler on the independents. Grado is like legend. I feel like Grado would be able to put something together with Space Monkey. So, you know what? I'll go with Grado.
All right. Fair enough. What is the next big movie you're excited for?
Oh, Deadpool. I already bought my tickets.
Yeah, I was going to say probably Deadpool, or... I mean, I could cheat and just say the next Avengers movie. But
yeah, but that's a year away.
I know. But
that's
I'm also
definitely cheating.
I'm also looking at it as the whole, God, am I going to have time to get to a movie again anytime soon? So, yeah. Who are some newer wrestlers to look out for in the next few years, and who in that group do you want to wrestle?
Zach Wentz is on my number one want to wrestle list. And also someone I think will be leading the charge in independence. Obviously, idiots like MJF, Josh Briggs, another. I've mentioned his name a bunch of times on here. There's a bunch of dudes right now that I think have the potential of doing some great things. I'll say those three. I'll pick those three right now.
All right. This is
please. No. Answer that.
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you watch wrestling, no?
Sometimes.
Huh.
No, I'd say that Josh Briggs is probably the guy that I have gotten really high on after paying more attention just through talking to you. So, yeah, I'll just throw him out.
Yeah.
I do want to say, this is less of a question, but something that got pointed out. Kyle Joseph has wanted us to get the podcast on Google Play Music, which I'm working on, and apparently I didn't do right. So Kyle, that'll be fixed this week. I'll get that figured out.
Boom.
I am
don't know what that is.
It's just another place for the podcast to be. So that's
dude, I don't know how you calculate all these numbers. It's like, oh, so many views here, so many views here. Okay, man. You just tell me we're doing good or bad.
We're doing good, but we could always do better. Right. So everybody, make sure you're talking about us. That's always helpful.
Heck
yeah. And this isn't a question that got sent to us, but Tom, who is not that Tom Green on Twitter, had brought up something that turned into a bit of a discussion, which is, he had said, cryptic indie wrestling thing, if you see someone talented who's not working everywhere and wonder why they're not, there's always a reason.
Not true.
I think it's true, and we ended up clarifying it because I kind of tossed myself into this conversation.
I guess there is always a reason. Right. It doesn't always have to be a bad one.
Right, and that is kind of what everybody settled on, was a lot of times it's...
Laziness
or...
Lack of connections,
or even just like, hey man, I've got
where they live.
I've got a really good 9 to 5, and
true. Yep.
I just I like wrestling on the weekends, but I can't travel all over the damn country. So, but
that's true.
what do you think is the most common cause for that? Do you think it is laziness usually that has really talented guys who
Honestly,
stick to?
most of the time it's ego. And I say that in the sense of like promoters are only going to be willing to pay so much, and this person thinks so highly of himself that he's not willing to just go for $20 or no money and drive 9 hours like a lot of us did to break out.
And that's not like the worst thing. It's just
No, it's just you need to know when it's time to pull your pants up and say no, and you need to know when it's time to pull your pants down and let professional wrestling just fuck you for a little bit, because that's the only way you're going to be able to make a splash to like raise your value. Sometimes it's a very bad analogy, but it's it's the roughest truth I could give.
we've had a few people send in less questions and more comments saying that you need to get a better mic.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, screw you. I'm just using my phone.
Well, I know
Get
this.
a better mic. I'm in the freaking United Kingdom, you dorks.
You've
I'm
got
sorry, I'm not going to bring a laptop and a freaking Bose mic or whatever the hell that stupid. You're lucky I have these $350 wireless Beats that I can actually do the podcast when I'm in the middle of a nowhere.
You know what I'm realizing is we have. That's pretty much all the questions that we actually have that are not Avengers related.
Oh.
So, thought we had more, but looking through, a lot of Avengers stuff.
Dude, I ain't worried about killing time talking about Avengers. This is going to be a whole damn moment for us.
All right, so let's just go ahead and say it.
Listen, you just listened to 11 minutes of us talking about nothing, but really you clicked this because we're talking about Avengers. So we're sorry to make you listen to the first 11 minutes, but if you listen to anything past this, there will be spoilers.
Yeah, and basically this is a bonus episode anyway, so I don't feel bad about just doing...
Exactly. You could skip it.
All right, so spoilers from here on. You've got, 2 seconds to stop your podcast.
1, 2.
Okay, so it's really, really good to start with.
Yeah, I would say it's the best Marvel, best superhero movie.
It's certainly the most fun. I mean, there's plenty of things you can say if you're looking to have a problem with it. Like, I can't remember who it is, but I saw somebody say that it's basically like a series of webisodes for 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is true, but doesn't make it bad.
Well, of course it's true because, well, not necessarily, because they were telling multiple stories at the same time that all culminated to one moment. And I think it was just the build-up of that moment. Someone tried telling me that it was a bad story. Josh Alexander, by the way. You could all go tweet at him. It's at walking_weapon and tell him he's an idiot for not liking Infinity War. But then he also told me that he saw it in a theater with no air conditioning and leather seats. So I wouldn't like any movie if I was sitting in that kind of a scenario. But he tried telling me the story was bad and he didn't understand it. Now, the thing is, they went with such a simple story. There is a bad guy who they have been hyping up for the last 10 years. Literally 10 years. He finally appears in a movie, and the first scene you see is him beat the living shit out of arguably the strongest member of the Avengers. Now, after that, they establish him as essentially a legitimate badass, and then he kills a character in the same scene.
You don't have to say a character.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Spoilers. He kills Loki in the opening scene, and they even touch on the fact that he's faked his death before. This is not something that he's going to be able to fake, I don't think. If they end up reversing everything like they do in the comic books, That's not a spoiler if you have ever read the comic books. Anyways, so if they end up reversing everything, he might be able to come back alive, depending on when and how they reverse it, what time, what happens, blah 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 blah. Um, it's the simplest story in a sense of there's one guy who needs to get 6 stones for him to accomplish one goal, and the good guys are trying to stop him. And the story is that they don't get to do that.
Okay, real quick, I saw you tweet. So, did you actually get spoiled?
I did. So this is why Cody Rhodes should book me for All In, because he tweeted, I feel like people should be talking more about Avengers. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. That's a very like vague retelling of his tweet. I'm not quoting him. Anyway, so I responded, yeah, because it should be radio silence right now, so there's no spoilers, which got all notifications to everyone that follows him that replied on the tweet to my phone. So I got a bunch of notifications of people just agreeing with me or agreeing that it's amazing. And as I was scrolling through, one of the spoilers said, Gamora dies, Thanos kills half the universe. And like as I was scrolling, as I saw that, I like let go of my phone and the scroll just slowly stopped. And that was the tweet that it stopped at.
Oh God.
And I was furious. Space Monkey couldn't talk to me for like an hour in the car because I was so mad. Eddie Kingston and Ricky Shane Page actually saved my hype because I pre-purchased tickets and I get the expensive seats with the moving chairs and they're bigger chairs. It's like it's like a big date thing for me and my wife, especially now with the kid. We got to have a babysitter or whatever. So it was what I was most looking forward to after my work weekend. So for someone to ruin that for me selfishly, well, I block them, but they win because they got to me, and it really broke my heart. But Ricky Shane Page and Eddie Kingston, I hit them up and I said, "Yo, someone spoiled the movie for me. This is what they said. Don't confirm or deny. Just tell me if there's more than this, so I have something to look forward to." And they all said, "Oh yeah, there's way more," and there was. So it obviously took away the Gamora scene for me when he gets the Soul Stone, but other than that, it really didn't affect the movie viewing for me.
Yeah, I managed to stay spoiler free by going Saturday. I did this. I did the stupidest thing where I decided I didn't need to buy tickets in advance because
Oh, so you sat front row?
No, not at all. I don't know if I've told you, but the theaters that we have in this area, and actually what I like worked at when I was in high school, was this theater chain that it's $5.50 to go to any movie. You buy a popcorn bucket for $3, which you can fill every time you go for a year for 50 cents.
Oh my god.
And a large soda is $2. So basically you can go
$10.
right, easy $10. So it's awesome.
It cost me $100
I absolutely
to go
believe it.
to go see Infinity War with my wife. The tickets were $50. Popcorn, drinks. There's no such thing as free refills anymore, so we ended up getting 3 large drinks because 2.5 hour movie, snacks, whatever, and dinner. It ends up all coming to $100.
This is how fucked up this theater chain, and they do a version of it now, but not like when I worked there again when I was in high school, where on Thursdays it's bring your own bag and they fill up your bag with popcorn, like whatever bag you want to bring. To the
pillowcase?
Garbage bags were
oh my
super
god.
common. People would just bring in like the paper grocery bags or
no
garbage
one's gonna
bags.
Eat that much.
It was
like you're being wasteful at that point. Don't be so ignorant, people. What, did you bring a garbage bag?
No, I worked there. Like there were times where we would like at the end of the day, instead of throwing everything out, somebody would like load a garbage bag, like a staff member, and take it home, but that was usually
That's
like,
insane.
yeah. But anyway, so I went to the closest theater that's a part of this chain, thinking, it's a Saturday afternoon in a small town. It's not going to sell out. It was sold out 45 minutes in advance, so I had to like hightail it up to a different theater, like 15 miles away or something. And they have a gigantic, like it used to be like an auditorium or like a place where plays were held, like a theater like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, we got there and decent seats. It wasn't bad, but yeah, that was plenty of room to see it there on a huge screen. But yeah, it was God, the Gamora scene, like as it was starting to happen, I was like, oh my God, it's that fan theory we talked about.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Which kind of pisses me off because everything that guy told me came true. So I literally think that, and I know you're listening right now, you bastard. I literally think that he read about it online and then tried to pitch it to me like a fan theory so that I could be like, oh, wow, man, you're so smart.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, that was bang on.
yeah, it was pretty much to the letter what happened. Um, yeah, so let's talk about the end for a second. Actually, no. Let's talk about Hulk or the
Okay.
or the lack thereof.
Which you need to give Marvel credit because in all the trailers, as they're running through Wakanda, the Hulk is in them. Not Hulkbuster, the Hulk.
Right. So that's what I was gonna say. There were so many articles this last week about how uh, these Marvel movies are being sold on false advertising because of stuff like that.
No, 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 no. I don't think that they're false advertising.
No,
I
it's
think no, they're fucking with you so that you don't get the spoilers. They're making your movie going experience better. Do you realize how much it costs the studio for them to do such good CGI that you think it's actually a part of the movie just to trick you in a trailer?
right, and that's what I was gonna say. Is it's not like first of all, they don't need to use any false advertising. They could have put in the trailer, hey, Loki dies in the first scene, Gamora dies towards the middle, Vision dies, then pretty much half the universe dies. They could have just said that in the trailer, and people are still going. It doesn't. It's not like they have to sell you on the idea that Hulk will be there. Like that's
No,
such.
but it shouldn't be a negative. What they're doing is creating an atmosphere for you to be shocked
Right.
and like actually enthralled in the story and be like, "Whoa, I didn't expect to see that coming."
Right,
Like,
exactly.
for you to get that for like a movie, that's incredible.
Right. And I mean on top of that, like how many times do trailers come out for like the next season of Game of Thrones and then people like slow it down to a frame by frame analysis and then like post some gigantic spoiler because some minor ass thing accidentally snuck its way into the trailer, so now
Yep.
everything's
And
ruined.
Disney is so smart that they fuck with people with that stuff.
Right. It's
And it's not false advertising. The Hulk was in the first scene in one of my favorite fights, so
yeah, just getting his ass kicked.
it was awesome. Like it just put Thanos over the top, and like when they were gonna help, and Ebony Maw is like, "Let Thanos have his fun." I was like, "Yo, that's the Hulk. That's the Hulk," and he's just like, "Let him have his fun." What did he had the Power Stone then and the Space Stone. So okay, sure, he had the Power Stone. That obviously helped, but like, man,
Yeah. So yeah, and then that led to God, the other thing I was going to talk about that because for whatever reason I got real hung up this week on all the articles that tried to be like, but here's why it's not good
oh yeah, 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 you
because they
little
just
hipster dorks.
yeah they just annoy the shit out of me and it everybody being like There's no emotional impact to the ending because everybody knows that's not going to stick.
No, that's not true. Okay, so, dude, so right away, they did this with the Thor trailer too. So like they had Thor have both of his eyes in the trailer to avoid spoilers that he's losing his eye. They kept the patch on all the trailer stuff in the Infinity War stuff to not give away the fact that Rocky gives him an eye. Like they are like very detail oriented. They did it with Hela, where she caught the hammer. In the trailer, she catches the hammer in an alleyway, and then in the movie, she catches it in like a grassy plain when she kills Thor's dad. Sorry if you haven't seen Ragnarok.
But if you don't care about spoilers for this, then you don't get to care about spoilers for that.
So, anyways, so they are so ahead of us in terms of no matter what we think is going to happen, they're going to find a way to either make us second guess it, which I am, or mess with us. So the first thing that they said to, that my wife said to me when we left. So like all the characters die at the end for the most part. Like let's name them so that we're all on the same page.
Right, so before Thanos wipes out half of the universe, Gamora, Loki, and Vision are already dead.
Yeah, Vision gets the stone ripped out of his head and turns into White Vision, which is a big comic book thing. So if he comes back to life, he'll stay white.
Right.
Were you in on? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just pulling up the list just to make sure that I don't miss anybody here.
Perfect, because we're going to need this to put this little web together, and then all of my theories of what's going to happen next and yours. Anyways, so go through everyone that died.
Okay, so Loki, Gamora, and Vision. Also, Heimdall. Dead.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, that was another big one, too. Like, the opening scene, 3 people die.
Yeah.
Or 2 people.
Well,
2 people and the Hulk spirit.
Well, and kind of, like, to a degree unclear,
Valkyrie and Korg.
Right. So, maybe, I mean... But then the whole half the universe, when that happens, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Star-Lord, Groot, Drax, Mantis, Nick Fury, Maria Hill. I think that's everybody.
Okay. Who's left?
Who is left? Do you actually want to know who's left?
No.
Okay.
Who is left? I'm just asking you as a general. You can give me one answer.
The original Avengers.
Exactly. Why?
I don't know.
Because they're going on one last ride, baby.
I mean, that makes sense, and they've already said a lot of stuff about, like, the next Avengers movie isn't going to be what you think with everybody immediately coming back.
Well, I don't think that, like, when I say they're 3 steps ahead, I mean it, because they did this with this. They announced Captain America Serpent Society, and that was to keep under wraps that Civil War was coming out, right?
Right.
Now, they've also started rumors, whoever started these rumors, that Captain America, what's his name, Evans?
Yeah, Chris Evans.
Yeah, wanted out of his contract. Then rumors started that Tony Stark wanted out of his contract, Robert Downey Jr. And these were all placed within the time of announcing Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2. So this is all stuff that we're thinking about as we're going into Infinity War, where we're expecting someone to die because we're dorks and we read the comic books. Now, knowing that these guys want out of the movies, we're already assuming that they're there. And they use that in the movie when they give us a false finish on Iron Man.
Yeah.
That dude, that was it for me. Like, that's when my face started getting wet, was when Tony is fighting Thanos one on one and like using these like dope ass like where he's like grounding the suit to give himself more power, and like he was using his suit like this was the greatest Iron Man moment out of any movie he's ever been in, and then almost died. Like I thought he was dead for sure. I was like, no, Tony Stark's dead. This is it. And then we go to the giving of the Time Stone to Thanos, which was the most key moment of this entire movie franchise. That like I'm at the time people just gloss over because like they're scratching their head like what is this idiot giving the stone away for nothing, but he also admitted to the entire audience watching the movie that he saw 14 million outcomes of this and there was only one that they won, and if he's the only one that knows that, then he knows Tony Stark needs to be alive for them to win. So if he's going to kill Tony Stark, there goes their 1 in 14 million chance. So giving him the stone so he leaves is a fair trade for the chance of winning.
Yeah. And
so like this movie is so layered and so well thought out, and we all know that they have the next one already planned. Just let them tell the story.
yeah, and what it does so well is that all of the original Avengers are so clearly like beaten down, worn down, physically like pretty much a wreck by the time that this movie even starts.
Yeah, man, they've been through so much. Like they went through Civil War, and like right now, like Captain America's no matter. Well, they don't call him that,
But
obviously,
he
but
is, yeah.
he for sure is. He's got the beard. He's like the Black Star. Like it was so badass, and like my theater clapped on a Monday night when he appeared after the subway passed.
Yeah.
It was like I was trying to explain to my wife on the drive home because I cried at the end. I'll tell you step by step when we start talking about how the ending affected us. But like I cried at the end, like full on cry. I was trying to explain to her that for 10 years these movies have like conditioned me to care about these characters, and even though I like know the comic books and everything like that, I was so like when he snaps his fingers, I knew what was going to happen. It's not like a oh my god. But watching the way they laid out the deaths, it wasn't so much who died, but who was there to see it happen and react to it.
Yeah, like
And I was like, I care about these characters so much that like I was like, this affects me. Like I just sat here for 2.5 hours
right,
and
like
I wanted to see them win. Like when Star Lord finds out that Thanos killed Gamora and he punches him out of Mantis's sleep spell, I was literally like, I fucking hate you, Star Lord. You're an idiot. You could have got the gauntlet off his hand. I'm so angry at you. And like, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, and there's stuff like, you know, Tony Stark holding Peter Parker as it's happening, and it's like through everything it's been Tony trying to keep Peter from being in a situation where he could have this happen.
Exactly. Or like just subtle things like Black Panther going to pick up his I forget her name, but he's telling her like this is no place to die, and he's like helping her up, and as he's helping her up, he's disappearing and dying. And I was like, oh my god, she needs to see her king like die, or everything that Cap did to keep Bucky from dying in all of these movies while literally his friends are trying to kill him, and he just disappears out of thin air. Is like, imagine watching that. Or Rocket and Groot are separated from the Guardians, but they still have each other. And Rocket has to watch Groot disappear, and then the Guardians have to see each other disappear. But Nebula's left to watch everybody go, and it's like, it's just, kills me. Scarlet Witch had to watch Vision, her love of her life, die that she was supposed to kill, and could have stopped this all from happening, but she hesitated. And yeah, man, it was just like they ripped at your heart, and like they did it so well, and they played every character perfect to their counterpart. And I thought, as a movie, like, it was so well put together, and they put Thor over huge.
Yeah, this was I mean, Thor's obviously been like a force and everything, but this was the
For
first time
sure.
that he was approaching like the comic book level of, like, if all you know is the MCU and you don't know the comics, like, you don't really understand like
His
how
power, man.
right he's like
He's a
off
fucking
the
god.
charts.
Yeah, he's a god.
Right, he is a literal god, and he
And like
is
I
in the
think that
movies, but not to the point where he is in the comics. And he's
but you know what though? I give it to the fact that he progresses through all the movies.
well, yeah. I mean, Ragnarok is all about him, learning that it's not about the hammer, that he has, control of his shit, like no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah.
So yeah, it's really good, and it's like such an incredible accomplishment to have all these people, all these characters in one movie without it falling apart and becoming like incoherent.
Oh,
It's
dude.
just and it seemed like people were worried about that with the first Avengers movie. Like, you can't have all of these guys in one movie, and now it's like this ridiculous list.
And
And
like the team ups were so good. Like they mixed the groups together, and like the interactions between people from different movies, and like you had the Tony Stark and Doctor Strange interaction, you had the Peter Parker Doctor Strange interaction, you had Rocket and Thor, and it was just like the possibilities are endless with all of these characters. I liken it to wrestling, where it's like you can see every Hulk Hogan match, but if you see Hulk Hogan versus someone else who's just as popular, it's instantly you're putting it at like Rock versus Hogan level, because you're invested in both of these characters. And we just saw that on a level times 10, because we've watched these characters for 10 years and grown to have a fondness for them, and to watch them interact with each other or fight with each other or against each other. It's just like it's it's the most like joy I've ever, and excitement and stress I've ever felt in a movie, uh, and actually cared about the outcome,
and
knowing it's fake.
and it's like Thanos is such, he's done so perfectly for this movie. Like, so good. It, because that's always been like one of the big complaints that a lot of people have, is that there hasn't been like a good enough bad guy. Like,
Right.
not a good enough villain at any point, and he certainly is, because he just kicked everybody's ass. Like,
And true to the comic.
oh, was that? I didn't know if you were saying true to the comics something else, but just
No,
the
no, no. It
character
is
is
like
true to the,
that's
yeah.
what he wants. He wants to eliminate half of the universe to create balance. And like, there's even scenes in the movie that are literally ripped from the pages, like when he turns Nebula into a Slinky, or Mantis. I forget which one it is. A Mantis. He turns Mantis into a Slinky and turns Drax into a bunch of blocks, like slices them into pieces. Those are literally things he does in the comic books.
Right, and there's like layers to like how much of it is actually about balance versus the fact that he needs to prove that he would have been right if they would have listened to him on Titan. Like,
Exactly. Like there's and like well I'm sorry to keep bringing my wife up, but like this is who I saw it with, so we talked about it for hours after, which is also another indication that it's a good movie. Uh, she was like, "Do am I supposed to hate him?" And I was like, "It's totally up to your interpretation. Like he's in a way not wrong in a sense that like we abuse Earth, and it's almost like it's touching on a subject of like you're not taking care of this, you don't respect the resources. If I eliminate half of the population, the planet will be better off, which is, I mean, I guess that would be pretty true.
from like strictly speaking for the planet, yes,
Right.
but
And
the
not
means of
killing
achieving
half
it are
is awful. So it's like in his mind, he's right, which is why he's called the Mad Titan. He's crazy, but he's like fixated on the fact that this is his goal. He's going to get it done. He needs the stones. He's going to get the stones. He gets the stones. He does it. And it's like, well, how many villains go, this is my plan. I'm going to do it. And they actually do it. None of them.
and God, the moment when it seems like they've got it, has like Thor has him, it's done, and then he reverses time is such a like, oh fuck, no 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 no, like just
Oh, the vision, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, from that point on, so like as soon as he shows up and everything's going in slow motion, like every character is coming up to him, he's swatting them away, and it's going in deathly slow motion, and it looks so amazing. So I'm going to see it this week in England again because I have to. Like I need to visually just soak it in again. And then as he's swatting everyone away, Scarlet Witch is trying to kill Vision to kill the stone or whatever, however it works. And you're right, like when he reverses time with the time stone, it's like your gut just sinks, and you're like, oh my god, he brought Vision back to life to rip the stone from his head. I'm like, oh, this is just so good.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Just so good.
Yeah, and I mean, it led me to spending like a couple days rewatching a bunch of other MCU movies, and then
Me too. Me
diving
too.
back into Marvel Unlimited again, and binging on a ton of comics, especially like when we were in the hospital for like 30 hours and I was just sitting there on my tablet, like just reading comics whenever we were just bored. So, and I imagine that's going to be the next like 3 days in between doing things with the baby when it's just like hanging out in the hospital. It's going to be a lot of comic reading just because it got me so damn fired up again.
Yeah, man. Like, all it is a good story with good characters, and like take it out of Marvel. If you had a movie with characters that introduced that weren't like Iron Man was not a big deal before the movies. He was just like a dude. No one
What
was like, oh wow, Tony Stark's the man.
was my favorite superhero though?
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Like
Oh,
from when I was a kid. Just one of those random things when you're a kid and somebody buys you a bunch of comics, and then because there's a bunch of one comic, you're like, yeah, this is my favorite.
right. No, that makes sense. Mine was always Spider Man. Uh, but like these characters weren't like crazy to the readers. They were just part of this whole thing, and they created them into this like super team because of the way they presented them on the screen. Oh man, like look what they did with Guardians. Like there's a bunch of jobber characters that weren't selling comics. It wasn't like a hot thing, and it's massive. Also, I do want to touch on one thing.
Yeah.
I heard 3 rumors. So one rumor is that the scene that Spider-Man dies was all improvised.
Okay.
Another rumor was that James Gunn wrote everything that the Guardians said. Anything that came out of the Guardians' mouth, James Gunn either wrote or approved.
I mean, that makes sense if you want to keep them as authentic as you can.
And they were.
Yeah.
Like that whole scene of them finding Thor is just like, oh, so funny. And the next one, this isn't so much a rumor, but kind of like a theory, is so when they were asking James, this is before Infinity War came out, they were asking James Gunn, and this goes into Marvel's ability to lie to us to protect their secrets, which I love. It's like a way of keeping kayfabe. So James Gunn tells a story, or not a story, but like a premise for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that Gamora is going to be essentially the leader, and it's going to be more about her taking a role as the predominant character in the movie, and blah, 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 blah. And then fast forward to Infinity War, and she's dead. Now, this all could come true if they reverse everything by the time Guardians 3 comes out, but is this just another way of them fucking with us?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's so impossible to like just tell when they're hinting at things that are actually being hinted at, when they're making it seem like something was accidentally leaked, but it's actually something to fuck with you, when they're just cleverly editing things like trailers to throw you off. Like, it's
To me, I love and appreciate all of that.
yeah. Speaking of Tony Stark, to rewind a little bit, do you remember when it was supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio who was taking the Tony Stark role?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, this was back before the first.
That would have been awful.
I mean, maybe. Might not have been. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Like he doesn't even look like Tony Stark. But that's why I love the MCU is they're not like they don't give a shit about like, oh, we need to get this, like we're gonna change this to a colored person for no reason. It's like, no, these people come from literally just come from the pages.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, and. Sorry, I'm pulling something up here. It was in the Ultimates where they were just basically like, wouldn't Nick Fury be cool if it was Sam Jackson?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much where that came from. And then.
Yeah.
And the answer was yes, so then that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, going through the list of possible Iron Men throughout Hollywood history was Nicolas Cage in 97,
Oh my god.
Tom Cruise in 98, Leonardo DiCaprio in 2003, Justin Timberlake in 2004, Rob Lowe in 2004.
Yeah, no, they made the right choice.
Oh, absolutely. The only one I think could have pulled it off, though not looking like him, is Leonardo DiCaprio, just because I think he could have pulled off the...
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Right, he's a good actor, and he's also good in the smug guy with money role, so...
Can we talk about something I didn't like?
Absolutely.
I didn't like the Hulk's acting.
Okay.
Or Bruce Banner, sorry. It almost took me out of the movie because it's essentially the first thing you see. So the Hulk was great. He gets his ass kicked by Thanos. homie shoots him back to Earth to warn everybody. He lands in Doctor Strange's gimmick, gets out, and his acting from then on is just awful. Like reading a teleprompter bad. No emotion, no facial expressions. Just this dude is just phoning it in.
Ruffalo's got a different way of acting.
Yeah, it's awful.
I like him, but I can see
like
it.
it's so dry. Like maybe that's Bruce Banner. I don't know. Maybe I need to read more comics. Maybe that's just the way his delivery is. It's just dry and not worried about anything. But like what he was trying to portray, like he's worried. Literally thinks the world's come to an end. He got his ass kicked by somebody as the Hulk. The Hulk is gone. He can't go back into being the Hulk. The Hulk's afraid of coming out. Like literally like a dog that's been whipped. It's just hiding in its cage. And he did not show any kind of like urgency or stress or fear or any emotion at all. He was like, Tony, I'm serious. This guy's real bad. That's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely didn't bother me, but I suppose I could see it.
Yeah, that was my only thing. And I almost slapped a dude in the theater because the first fight scene, which is amazing, when Ebony Maw drops in with the giant dude, and it all happens. They leave, and then Bruce Banner finds the cell phone that Cap gave Iron Man,
Yeah.
and a dude in the theater's like, "Oh, really? He found that cell phone in a pile of blah blah." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, you asshole!"
Yeah, it's a movie, and
Yeah, and we have girls have found their earrings in tall grass before, so shut the hell up.
yeah. Let's see. Let's hit some of the
Okay.
stuff that came in for this.
Oh yeah, people sent questions. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's do that.
One of them is, so Valkyrie is just killed on the ship before the movie starts and is never mentioned again.
Yeah, I'm with that because they were all on the ship together, and it's all in canon. So at the end of Ragnarok, you see Thanos' ship pull up, and they're giving the innuendo of like, "Yep, they're gonna get boarded," and then literally the next movie that comes out is the ship is destroyed. So yeah, I would say they're dead.
Right, and might have been worth touching on in the movie.
Yes, it might have been, but let's say nobody saw Ragnarok.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because so much of that movie hinges on the assumption that people have seen most everything.
Sure, but if they're saying they've only seen the big movies, then they're fine. They could have only seen Civil War, and then all of a sudden it just opens up on a spaceship. Sure, Thor can be in space. All of his characters can be in space.
We've also got the problem then of, you probably need to give some explanation of why Thor has one eye.
Fair enough.
I don't know. It's a minor thing. It's just strange. Probably already been asked, but for me, the quote unquote emotional ending of Infinity War didn't really make me feel anything. It just seems so obvious that half the population will be brought back in part 2. How did you guys feel about it? The Gamora scene, though. ... So I guess that's how do we feel about, which I guess we talked about a little. A lot of people saying that they felt no real emotion because they just figure it's getting reversed.
So in the comic books, Nebula gets the gauntlet and reverses it. I don't think that they'll give her that moment, to be honest with you.
No, it's an awful big moment to give her.
I think it'll either be Tony or Cap, and the question is, will the user of the gauntlet after Thanos have to go through the same trial to use the Soul Stone?
Yeah.
And who is Tony going to give up? His unborn child?
Yeah, or Pepper.
Right, exactly. And who's Cap going to give up? Nobody. He has nobody left, unless he gives up. Unless he gives up Tony.
I did have this pointed out to me yesterday by Scott Christ, Tape Machine's a rolling guy and Bad Left Hook guy. Why did Winter Soldier's arm not fall like when he disappeared? His gun fell. His arm went.
I don't think his gun fell. I think he dropped his gun.
Okay. I'd have to rewatch it. I don't know. Scott's seen it twice. I've only seen it once. So
Maybe he's right then. Well, I'll see it soon and we'll figure it out.
I mean, it's a minor thing. It's just one of those weird.
Well, then why wouldn't their suits fall off?
That's true. Like, yeah, just a bunch of clothes piled up. Let's see. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like, I don't know. It's a weird way to watch an action movie to just be like, well, I didn't believe that anybody actually was going to die or whatever. Like, yeah, Die Hard sucked because I never thought John McClane was going to die. Like, it's still at its heart an action movie and a comic book movie, and even if you think, oh, all this is getting reversed, still the moment is huge. Even if you think like, hey, the next movie, it's undone.
The end of the movie.
Right.
The bad guy wins. And side note, in the comic books, after Thanos loses eventually, that's when we see him smiling on a sunset. So there's fan theories out there that the ending of Infinity War is actually the ending of the next Avengers.
It's a spoiler-free one that I guess we could have asked as a teaser, but here we go. Mike Alcutt, our good buddy at Pursuit_Fighter. Now that all the MCU is under one ownership roof, which X-Men character would you love to see make an appearance in Infinity War 2?
I personally would like to see Namor and the Fantastic Four come in.
I mean, I think that's a good answer in terms of like who could have a massive impact in terms of having knowledge to figure things out, being Reed Richards.
Well, so hold on. Let's get to theories in a second. What I want to touch up on is the fact that Disney literally confirmed that they own Fox in this movie.
Okay, go on.
So in Civil War, when the airport fight is happening and Spider-Man says, "Yo, has anyone ever seen that movie Empire Strikes Back?" It's a Lucasfilms movie. And after that, they purchased Lucasfilms. Disney owned them. In this movie, Spider-Man says, "Hey, you guys ever seen that movie Alien?"
Right.
And Alien is owned by Fox.
All right.
So,
fair enough.
the prophecy has been fulfilled.
There was definitely a moment in the post-credits scene when I thought the little pager thing was going to be a 4 instead of the Captain Marvel thing.
See, that would have been nuts. So, here's my theory. There's two ways. Sorry, go ahead. Answer the question. Which character would you want? X-Men character would you want?
Okay, in terms of seamlessly fitting into the world as established now, Storm, just because you could easily just toss her into a Wakanda scene.
But she should have already been there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, but it would just be like that wouldn't take a lot of explaining, like, why
or
the hell
she
is
returns
here or whatever.
She returns from Wakanda,
right.
or to Wakanda. When she finds out what happened, she returns to Wakanda.
Right, exactly. So
yeah, that could work seamlessly. You are correct.
Okay, so
the Fantastic Four could return from another dimension
or space. I mean, it could just be as simple as space.
Well, imagine they came up on the wreckage of the Thor See, that would have been a great post-credit scene. You see Valkyrie floating, like dead, and then all of a sudden the Fantastic Four show up.
Yeah, but that's some good nerd rewriting there.
Yeah. But I think like Miss Marvel is going to play a big role in this next movie for sure. But so I got super deep into looking into what's going to happen next because I've been like absolutely obsessed with it, and I'm like literally I've never felt this way about a movie in like maybe ever. Yeah, no, I've never felt like this before. So like I'm like legitimately obsessed with it. So here's another spoiler thing. If you don't want to hear about anything that I've kind of researched or found out or think is going to happen, turn this thing off now. We're at about an hour exactly, anyways, so you've heard enough. But anyways, so um, with all the characters that are left, PIM technology, and you see it in the trailer for their next movie, they can go interdimensional,
Yeah.
meaning they can find another dimension or realm of the same Earth. And every realm has the same thing, so they could find their own set of stones.
Okay, that does make sense.
Uh, the Fantastic Four could end up being in one of those dimensions or realms, a different Earth. You could end up finding like Ben Riley Spider-Man, which another theory too could be things get reversed, but because of the butterfly effect, the people that end up playing the characters could be different.
Okay, so like you said, we're over an hour.
No, but what like that's my argument in the fact that people are saying, no, they're all just going to come back. It's like,
Yeah,
well, no, because you're fucking with a timeline. If you fuck with the timeline, some shit could get fucked up and be different. And just because they announce these movies does not mean that that's what these movies are. And they've already proven that they'll change the title of a movie on a drop of a dime. So don't expect one to be the next just because you think you know the lineup of movies. So
yeah, and I mean, what I'll say is, I think the reason that we're both so excited to talk about this, at least personally, is like I've been a comic fan since I was like 5 or something, and never in my life until like the last couple of years could I have ever imagined a time when we'd get something like this, like the MCU in general, and a movie like this where it's like that's like stuff I would have considered crazy even as like a dream.
every character that I like died. No, dude, I'm not joking. When Falcon died, I was like, oh man, I like him. Then when Groot, I was like, yo, my eyes are getting wet. Then Drax, then Star Lord, and I'm like, now I'm a mess. But then when Spider Man was trying to fight it, I was like, yo, this is a little kid, and I see Tony, and now he's alone on this island, like on this planet, and I was just like so affected by this. Then it cuts to Thanos smiling, and then the credits hit, and I'm like wiping my eyes as a grown man in theater, and like, fuck, so good. Yo, what if they went back in time to the first Avengers movie, like Back to the Future style, and went up the Tesseract portal because it went directly to Titan or wherever Thanos was, because he was sending in those like ships, you know,
Right.
because they opened the portal because it was the Space Stone. So what if they went up that portal and kicked Thanos' ass before he even got any stones?
Huh.
Then that would reverse everything, but it wouldn't because it would fuck with the timeline. He'd be dead. So anything he did would be vanished and
Well, and
whatever.
Right, and then also all the other subsequent movies wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
I just went to www.didthanoskill.me and found out that I was spared by Thanos, so this is important news.
Oh, wow. That's so, yo, what if Hawkeye's family dies?
Oh, that's just mean.
Do we get Ronan?
God, this is so good.
Dude, yes, like there's so much. Oh my God, there's so much shit. Like Aunt May, if she's alive, she's freaking the fuck out right now.
Yeah. Oh God, we should just turn this into an all Marvel podcast.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm all for it because so Ant Man comes out in like 3 months, right? Is this movie? So I've heard that it's actually before Infinity War, which kind of pisses me off because after everything that we just saw, this is like a nice little, hey, here's a look into the same universe post Thanos murdering everybody. Let's see how these people react. But I don't think that's the case. And then I've also heard that Miss Marvel is going to be set in the 90s as like an introduction uh, movie.
Yeah, and like introducing the scrolls and everything. So
Yeah, which is awesome. That's going to be great.
yeah. All right, let's wrap it.
Yeah, dude, I could talk about this all night.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
I
2 a.m.
honestly absolutely would if I didn't also want to spend a little bit of time with the fiance before we go tomorrow to have a baby. So
Oh, shut up about your real life. We're talking about comic books. All right, man. We're wrapping up. I'm falling asleep anyways. It's 2 a.m. in the UK. I got to wake up tomorrow and do nothing. So my Twitter at official ego, my Instagram at official_ego, prowrestlingtees.com/ethan page. Cheap plug, as always, powerbomb.tv. Use promo code alpha1 ALPHA. The number one, you get 20 days for free. There's 21 events, just Alpha One alone. Over 100 events on the thing that you'll never watch everything that's on there for $9.99 a month. So
I've
try it for
tried.
20 days. Have you really?
I've just tried to like do that thing where it's like I'm just gonna start here and work my way through, and you can't.
No, you really can't. It's essentially the Netflix of independent wrestling. There's amazing things, and then there's things that kind of suck. But you know what? If you watched everything else, you've got something to watch.
Absolutely. All right, I am at Brent Brookhouse on Twitter, and you can follow my writing and this podcast and everything else at cagesideseats.com. They are the good people who make this podcast possible. We've talked for well over 2 hours today, and we will talk again on Wednesday. So, man, Avengers. Go see it if you haven't and decided to listen. Even if you haven't seen it, listened, had everything spoiled by this conversation,
You'll still love it.
Yeah.
You'll still love it.
It's great. So, yeah, man. Enjoy your time in the UK. We will talk on Wednesday.
Dope.
Our world's about to break.